To the ladies and gentlemen here when we come back. But first, let's remind you of some of the things that happened during the day. And so, President Donald Trump exited the White House this morning after presiding over 4 years, marked with a trail of domestic and external controversies. Murimi Mwangi recounts some of those controversies and, of course, reports now on them.
A billionaire, popular reality show host and sworn hardliner with an unmatched penchant for courting controversy. Donald John Trump, whose election as US president in 2016 promised the world a rare sneak peek of the theatrics and ugly side of Washington power games.
I took on the tough battles, the hardest fights, the most difficult choices, because that's what you elected me to do. Your needs were my first and last unyielding focus. This, I hope, will be our greatest legacy.
Yet for a man whose rise to power sounds like a fairy tale, controversy seemed to follow him everywhere. Controversies that have now left the Western nation nearly as divided as it was during the Vietnam War. Trump's presidency began on a controversial note with his directive for stricter immigration laws.
The nice part about the wall or the barrier is I can have that worked out in 15 minutes. We can start construction. We're already building, but now we would be able to carry the construction through. We actually have a fantastic design that's going to be efficient and fast and really, really work well.
Then there was Trump's bromance with the sworn U.S. enemy, Northern Korea leader Kim Jong-un. A love-hate relationship that severally saw Trump threaten Un of fire and fury after North Korea tested a missile with a range to hit the U.S. in 2017. The two would later meet in Singapore and later in North Korea. Trump was also not above name-calling.
They're talking about Bernie because he made a bad deal. He should have not made a deal. He would have just not done anything. Just go home, go to sleep, relax. He would have been a hero. But he made a deal with the devil. She's the devil. He made a deal with the devil.
But the diplomatic war drums have been at a fever pitch on another front for the Trump administration. The trade wars with China that have sparked fears of what has been globally termed as a new Cold War, characterized by commitments to buy huge amounts of U.S. crops and steep tariffs on steel and aluminium to ostensibly protect U.S. producers and citing security concerns.
I can't breathe.
And perhaps the biggest stain on the Trump administration was the Black Lives Matter protests, sparked off by the death of George Floyd, a black man who lost his life at the hands of a police officer, a death that sparked protests in nearly 100 U.S. cities, amplifying critical voices against Trump's re-election. A trail of controversy climaxed by these protests in the U.S. Capitol after Trump's call for his supporters to come out in numbers and reject the U.S. electoral outcome of the November 3rd election. These protests coinciding with the January 6th U.S. House of Representatives and Senate certification of the results of the Electoral College. On his last day at the White House, Trump was still unapologetic about these controversies.
This week we inaugurate a new administration and pray for its success in keeping America safe and prosperous. We extend our best wishes, and we also want them to have luck, a very important word.
Trump, the latest U.S. one-term president, exiting a tenure with an indelible trail of controversies. Murimi Mwangi, KTN News.
Very interesting indeed. I still have my panel here. We are going to now bring it home and look at the impact of Joe Biden's speech. It said it's a speech that was not for Trump. It was meant for America. But we also don't forget, and we won't forget, that during the speech that almost stole the thunder from the inauguration by President Trump, he didn't mention Biden by name. We take a short break right here on News Hour. We'll be right back.